This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for Lake Stevens Sewer District. It is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. We're going to call it 9:01 a.m. We just had a slight delay as we were working on some technical issues, but this is the regular meeting. Normally it is on a Thursday, but it had been moved previously due to there is a observed federal holiday tomorrow, which is Veterans Day, so we're moving it there. So as we get started, I think there's just, I've just got to read real quick our normal preamble that we have been doing since we've gone into these hybrid type of meetings. So again, good morning, Commissioner, staff, citizens. Since it is a hybrid meeting, there are some initial comments that are appropriate. As required by the Governor's March 24th, 2020 proclamation, the Lake Stevens Sewer District has held its commissioner meetings remotely using the GoToMeeting platform. While this has occurred for more than a year, we're glad to be able to ensure some continuity of business operations and are able to now move into what we would consider a hybrid meeting as we safely work back to normal and eventually get back into in-person meetings. Members of the public who are participating in this meeting in person or remotely, we are very grateful for your support and patience as we work through this interim way of doing business. As required by the Snohomish Health District's August 10, 2021 directive, masks are required regardless of vaccination status while attending the meetings in person. Individuals choosing not to wear one will be asked to leave and then join us remotely. So with that, members of the public, we've been invited you to join us in person in accordance to the CDC requirements and the state coronavirus guidelines via the virtual GoToMeeting platform. We're going to handle our public comments section of the agenda in the following ways. First, any comments, questions, concerns that were emailed directly to the customer service folks at the sewer district or otherwise received sufficiently in advance of this meeting, we'll read those things during our public forum aspect of the meeting. Secondly, during the meeting, any remote participants willing or wanting to speak to the board will need to just use the chat box feature to indicate that that is what you'd like to do, and we will give you the opportunity to speak. And third, if there are any folks that are in the boardroom and wishing to comment, all they have to do is signify their intention to do that to one of our staff members, and we'll obviously give you the opportunity to do that. As a reminder, we just need to make sure we do our best in speaking at one person at a time. Even though we do take some minutes, notes, these are recorded meetings and we do want to make sure they're as clear as possible. So with that being said, we've called the meeting to order and we've recognizing we have Commissioner Koshy, Commissioner Stevenson, myself, Commissioner Dan Lorenzen. We have our staff, we have staff from the city. We do have some elected officials from the city of Lake Stevens. So we would go ahead and start moving into the meeting. So please join me at this time with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, my fellow commissioners. As we see, we have the agenda, and for those that might be following an electronic version of it online, we're currently down to item number 3 under today's agenda. This is the approval of the agenda. I'll look to staff and the other members of the board if there are any additions, subtractions that need to be noted for this agenda before we make a motion and approve the agenda.
No changes from staff.
How about my fellow commissioners? Anything from you folks this morning? Seeing them indicating by shaking their head side to side, which is the universal language of no, I would entertain a motion that we approve the the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
So there's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. I'm looking.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been seconded. There was just a slight delay, so it has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Not needing any other further discussion on it. I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
It has been approved and moves forward. We're moving on down to number 4 on the agenda this morning. This is the consent agenda items. These are items that have been reviewed in detail by the Board of Commissioners prior to this meeting. Any questions, comments, concerns with that from my fellow commissioners before we entertain a motion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve consent items A through I.
So there is a motion on the floor to approve consent agenda items A through I as described in our agenda.
I'll second.
I think you're on mute.
Yep, I am. Okay, that has been moved and seconded, so I will go ahead and call for the vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
It has carried, so that's been moved and seconded and approved. So we're moving on down to number 5. I will look to staff to see if we've had anybody bring up anything they'd like to speak to the board about. This is the public forum aspect of the agenda.
Nothing was received from the public prior to the meeting, and there's no public in person today.
Okay, nothing received in writing prior to this meeting. Nobody is in the audience this morning at the district. How about online? Is there anybody that would like to speak to the Board of Commissioners this morning? I don't see the chat box lighting up, so I'm going to take it that nobody's at least raised their hand there, but I will look to see if there's any other folks in the audience. Not getting indication that that is going to happen. We're going to go ahead and close the public forum aspect of the meeting. Normally we move, well, we're going to move down the agenda, but under item 6, which is old business, there is nothing there. So we're going to move to new business, which is item 7 of the agenda. There are 3 items on there. The first one being the temporary sanitary sewer connection agreement, which I am going to open up to staff to inform the rest of the board members.
All right. So as the title implies, this agreement is an agreement between the property owner and the district to allow a temporary sewer connection. This agreement also stipulates essentially a variance. Without the variance, the developer or the property owner would be required to construct a sewer main in 108th down about 1,100 feet down south, about 1,100 feet to a connection point that is well off site and require them to get a easement through a private property. This agreement also requires, because of location and the district as a franchise utility in Snohomish County rights of way, that the district apply for the right-of-way permit for the applicant to be able to make the connection in 107. Their proposed connection alignment will be about center of their property and through these, in between these 2 parcels here and out into 107. The property owner has received a private easement through both of those properties, and that easement's been recorded with the county already. And because the district has to be an applicant for the right-of-way permit, we required a $5,000 deposit that will cover our costs, plus some. I don't think the obtaining the permit will cost $5,000, but the deposit was $5,000 to cover our costs in pursuit of the right-of-way permit. The agreement also stipulates that if the district through ULID or a capital project constructs a sewer main in 107, 108th, or otherwise fronting their property, or if a private developer constructs a sewer main in 108th or otherwise fronting their property, that the property owner would then be required, after 30 days of acceptance of that sewer line, be required to connect to that new sewer line and vacate that temporary easement or the easement between the two properties. The property owner, if it is a private development and there are latecomers associated with that, would then owe latecomers no more connection fees, but latecomers to that developer. District staff recommends it for approval. It's been reviewed by legal, and yeah, staff recommends it for approval. Any questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
I have I'm curious. So do we end up with a tickler file somewhere that, you know, by geography that says, here's kind of the unique pieces that, you know, it triggers an action? So does our admin staff have a way to monitor that, or how do we go about that piece? And then, so I have another follow-up, but that would be the first question.
This would be recorded on the parcel. So whenever doing parcel search or reconnaissance of that area, it will come up there. And when they do have a connection, you see the greenhouses on our GIS, the kind of the target there, that indicates that there's a connection. And when you go into that, anything in their account file, as far as builds and permit applications, comes up there. So it would be easy when we see a new DEA come in and start reviewing sewer plans for private development or ULID. It will be kind of a standout that would trigger us to do some digging.
Okay. And then the other question was, so the property owner then, I assume, gets tagged with a GFC connection or combination there for the temporary. Then when they swing it back over, do they get tagged with a second GFC connection, or does that end up getting waived?
No, they'll receive the credit for the GFC, but they will have to pay any new latecomers to that sewer main.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. Great. That's all my questions. Thank you.
So, Jonathan, is 108th, I mean, is that scheduled anytime soon to get any sort of development? It appears that there's already homes there on larger lots, so it may not be a case where they're going to be doing any redevelopment or any sewer connection unless we do something like you had spoken on a ULID. And then looking at 2203, which I'm assuming is going to be up 107, they don't even look like there's a structure there other than there is a connection.
Yeah, there is a structure there. It's just the layer we have wasn't updated with the actual structure. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of room between those houses, and the property owner that's wishing the connection has spoken with contractors that have assured him that they can make it.
Okay, well, perfect. No, I mean, I think that it's a great opportunity. Sounds like we've covered all the bases, so we don't have one of those issues that I think we've revisited before, where a access was given but never recorded, and then there's a dispute between parties. So I think we've covered our bases on that. So I don't know if Commissioner Stevenson has any comments, concerns, or questions.
Actually, I do have a question. So the temporary status of it, how long can that go for before the 108th one is opened up? Is there a timeline?
There's no timeline. It's essentially up until that there is sewer in 108th.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we've asked questions on that one that probably nobody expected, but if there is no further questions, we could entertain a motion to approve the temporary sanitary sewer connection agreement authorizing the board president, I think it is, to sign that.
I'd make a motion, we approve the temporary sanitary sewer connection agreement and authorize our board president to sign.
So there is a motion on the floor for this temporary sanitary sewer connection agreement. And it sounds like it has been seconded by Commissioner Stevenson. Any further last minute discussion comments? Not seeing them want to jump out of that. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved. Thank you, everybody, on that. Thank you, staff. Let's move on down to B under news business. This is a lift station 18 pipe repair project bid award. Turn it over to staff.
All right. So during the flow monitoring that we were conducting for our comprehensive plan, engineering staff and district staff noticed that a newer drainage basin was experiencing higher than anticipated flows during rain events, so indicating that there was a higher level of inflow and infiltration. And again, it was a newer basin, so it would not be, it wasn't consistent. So the district staff started conducting some investigations. We went and did manhole inspections and CCTV inspections to try to determine the source of the inflow and infiltration. And we found a section of pipe adjacent to lift station 18 that had been crushed, and there's a crack in the top of the pipe that's allowing most of that inflow into that entire drainage basin. So district staff, we advertised the pipe repair to the entire MRSC roster, and we received 2 bids to make that repair. And the low bidder was AAA Excavating for $29,212 even. And district staff recommends awarding the pipe repair project to AAA Excavating for $29,212.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions from the board members? Okay, I would entertain a motion if that is desired to award that bid.
I'd make a motion that we award the bid for lift station 18 pipe repair project to AAA Excavating at the amount of, if my memory is correct, $29,200.
So that motion is on the floor. Oh, I think Commissioner Stevenson, you're on mute.
I'll second. Sorry.
There you go. I could read your lips, but I think that the staff would prefer it being recorded so others wouldn't have to be able to go and look at the video. So it has been moved and seconded to approve the, to make the motion to approve the award bid for lift station number 18's repair to AAA Excavation in the amount of $29,212. I'll go ahead and call for the vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion has been approved. Thank you, everybody, on that project. And finally, under new business, we have item C. It is a resolution 1112, establish a method and process for electronic signatures. Turn that to staff.
All right, so this resolution is a resolution that would authorize the Board of Commissioners, the General Manager, and the Assistant General Manager to, as far as statutes allow, use electronic signatures to finalize or execute some of our official documents. The platform that the resolution calls out is the Adobe Acrobat sign function. It does give us the ability to, if that solution, the Adobe Acrobat, does not work for electronic signatures to look at other vendors of electronic signatures. But otherwise, it would just authorize the Board of Commissioners, the General Manager, and the Assistant General Manager to sign official documents using the electronic signatures. This resolution's been reviewed by legal and is recommended by staff for approval.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions from the board members? Most of you are probably very used to using electronic signing in day-to-day operations, so I guess it's just great to see the district actually coming into the 21st century for us. So with that being said, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1112.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 1112, establishing a method for process for electronic signatures.
So there is a motion on the floor for that. How about a second?
A second.
There is a second to that. This is the resolution which, as Commissioner Koshi said, 1112, establishing a method and process for electronic signatures. With that being said, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Thank you on that. So as we move on down, we're going to go to managers' reports. We will go ahead and start with the general manager.
Okay, good morning. So flows at the plant are averaging about 3.5 million gallons a day. We did have a 1 hour high of 6.4 on the 4th of November. So we're seeing increased flows than we were before, but still doing well. And I just wanted to thank staff for doing such a great job. We are really making progress and working well together. So that is it for me today, unless you have any questions.
No, other than thank you. That's a pretty heavy flow for that one day. And I know we've been experiencing, it seems like some biblical type rains lately. So hopefully with our current weather pattern, it will kind of dry out a little, or at least just snow in the mountains. I'm okay with that. So thank you. About the assistant general manager, you're up.
All right. So we've collected 451.59 connection fees so far this year and have issued 440 permits. So during all the wet weather, wind, and the rain again, the collection system didn't experience any outages. All of our equipment performed as we expect. So it's a testament to our collections team and their diligent maintenance on our lift stations that kept us operational during adverse weather. We've been doing several upgrades to some of our lift stations as far as trying to make them more code compliant. We recently had, I believe it was systems interface come into lift station 14 and correctly size some of our insulators. We noticed that some of the insulators for our pump controls were undersized and could have been contributing to issue we were having with pumps drawing higher amperage than they should have and therefore kicking out. And we spent a lot of time and money trying to find the source of that problem, and staff was able to track that down and get it fixed. So again, a testament to them. And other than that, nothing else for me.
Excellent, thank you. It's great to see all those, all the staff working together to make sure that our business practices move forward. And so thank you to them for all the hard work. Anything from the other commissioners? No, let's move on down. City report. I see the city administrator, Gene. He's on board this morning, so it's yours, Gene.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Hopefully you're staying dry. Over here, we're chasing water and cleanup after the several storms we've had this week. And so business as usual, construction continues out here on Mill Spur, and you'll see light poles going up and things of that nature in the near future. So excited about that. One thing I did want to mention to everybody is originally when we were working on the agreement for the decant, there was some discussion about including PUD water and power. And after working that agreement for a while, we decided just to enter into that with the sewer district and have a two-way agreement, but also plan for the future to allow PUD water to use the facility through a tipping fee type program. And so now that the facility is open, we are working to draft up an agreement, and we've utilized Snohomish County's agreement they currently have with PUD water for dumping at Cathcart as a model. So it's a pretty complicated agreement. I think that ours could be a little simpler, but as soon as we have something drafted, and Brant Wood at PUD Water has been helping as well put that together, we will get it to the sewer district to have a look, and if everybody's happy with it, we'll move it forward to the board and the city council for agreement and finalization of that. So I would imagine we should have something in the next 30, 40 days, something like that. And that's all I have.
Hey, one question on that, Gene. If I remember right, PUD, they were originally going to be kind of a three-way member party potentially in our decant facility. And one of the reasons they said that, or that I had heard that they didn't participate, was they were anticipating needing a much more robust facility than we had envisioned. And so some things must have changed. This must just be incremental, or do you have a sense on what subset of what their original expectations were that is going to be satisfied with our smaller facility on the tipping fee type arrangement, or is that not clear? Or have they not disclosed that?
I haven't talked to Brant about it directly, but I do understand that they have that property across the way, just to the north of their existing PD water facility on Hartford, that they plan on building a large scale decant. But currently, anything they're doing locally, they have to haul all the way to Cathcart, and it just doesn't make sense for them. So to be able to just drive across the street and dump in the facility, and they do primarily hydro excavation, so you're just looking at dirt, rock, mud, that type of thing. But I believe that's where they're at mentally. I think long term they'll probably build a bigger scale decant.
Okay, thanks.
And I think kind of to piggyback off of what Gene was describing, PUD Power was also kind of involved in that discussion, and they utilize hydro excavation even a lot more than the PUD water. So economies of scale didn't make sense, including PUD Power along with that. There wasn't enough room to accommodate everybody. PUD Power, PUD Water, the city, and the sewer district, and that arrangement.
Perfect. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. Any other questions by the board? Not seeing them click in to say anything. Let's move on down to Commissioner's report. We can start with Commissioner Stevenson.
I just want to thank the staff. I know I say it week after week, but I just think you guys are amazing, and I appreciate how well you work together and just the diligence in finding things before they become something big. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kochi.
Just a congratulations to Commissioner Stevenson on a decisive win in our recent election, and congratulations to Councilmember Petershagen for a sufficient win in our recent election. Congratulations on fresh new terms for both of you. That's all I got.
Yeah, I would reiterate those two sentiments. Congrats to both of you. It's always tough going through an election cycle. If you've never been through one before, or you have been through one, I know I've been through a few in my lifetime. Nothing's guaranteed to the last vote, or actually the certification's done. So congrats to both of you. Also, congrats to Michelle with our district being promoted to the new position. So good job on that. We know you will do an excellent job as usual, along with the rest of the staff, because you've got a great team behind you. So thank you to them for that. And I know this might be a shock to my fellow commissioners, but there is not an executive session today unless the GM or assistant GM somehow decided to change. But I see them shaking their head side to side no. So that is a plus, I think, for all of us. I mean, that is part of the business, but we don't have to have one today. So with that, appreciate everybody's hard work. I'd entertain a motion to conclude if there is nothing else.
I'll make a motion, we conclude.
There is a motion on the floor. And I heard that second. So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday and enjoy tomorrow's holiday and with Veterans Day and that. And thank a veteran if you have one, or think of them as they are still serving around the world. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Everybody have a good day.
You too.